Hello, I'm John Ramsey, and welcome to Louisville Focus. This show is all about maybe giving you an understanding about Metro government and how it works, the different departments, but more importantly, the people who can help you navigate in our city and enjoy and live a full and abundant life. Once again, welcome to Louisville Focus. I think we can all agree we love our city for many reasons, but one would be the fact that we have a very vibrant and engaged arts community. And someone who is directly involved with that is Jessica Kincaid, who is our guest now. She is the director for the Office of Arts and Creative Industries. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, quickly now, this is a tough one here. Elevator speech, what exactly do you do?
So the Office of Arts and Creative Industries is focused on a number of things. It oversees the public art program for Louisville Metro. It also engages in cultural planning programming for the city. It also engages in grant making to our arts and culture organizations. And it has a new focus to help support our creative economy and creative entrepreneurs.
I would think a lot of what you do, Jessica, involves a collaboration. Because you have the artist, you have the community, you have businesses. So talk about the little bit of a juggling act that you have to do.
Absolutely. So our office is set up as the designated local arts agency for Louisville Metro, which is a designation that matters at the federal level. And that allows us to access increased federal funds, which we then subgrant to our community partners. So arts and culture organizations, who then are the entities that then engage the individual working artists and creatives. So it's a whole ecosystem that feeds sort of into itself.
You know, Jessica, I think all of us can agree that the arts really enhance our lives. But a lot of times when we think about economic growth in our city, we don't think about the arts. So tell me a little bit about how the arts do affect economic growth, cultural development. Talk about that little bit of a partnership.
Absolutely. So Metro is still kind of looking into how it is that we define our creative industries and what creative industries have the strongest presence in our community. We've just acquired a new tool to help sort of survey that data. And for example, we know that we have over 1,000 people in Louisville Metro that claim that they are a fine artist as their primary source of income on their tax return, which is an interesting number to have. And we're starting to get information about exactly how much revenue and sales represents the industry at this point. It's very preliminary, but it's exciting to have sort of the clearest picture of our creative economy that we've ever had before.
You and I have had a chance to briefly talk. Tell the folks out there, because I think it's interesting, some of the programs that you've initiated and continue to support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, the public art program is sort of the oldest arts-oriented programs within Louisville Metro. So our public art program was officially established in 2010. We have a public art master plan that the Commission on Public Art is sort of going back to do an audit on and look at to see now 10 years later, how is that serving our community? How do we need to shift our focus in that program? Where do we have art in public spaces? What neighborhoods haven't been sort of served as well in that capacity? So we're looking at, what are the trends on a national level, which include things like short-term public art exhibitions, if you will, rather than commissioning and installing more permanent public art in a place. We've undertaken new conservation efforts for our public art program, which is pretty sort of far advanced from some of our peer cities. Not many municipalities are doing that in a proactive way. We have just retooled our grant-making program for our arts organizations. It's a program that's existed for more than 15 years, but for the first time is offering general operating support to our arts organizations, which is sort of still in desperate need following the COVID-19 pandemic. So it's good to be able to support our arts community that way.
And Jessica, I know this is important to you personally, but I think it's important to a lot of folks who are watching now. How do you ensure that we have diversity and inclusion when it comes to the arts community?
It's a great question. That was sort of the primary impetus for reconfiguring our grants making programs. We're looking at funding organizations that provide arts experiences to those who have experienced boundaries and accessing that due to socioeconomic status or race or ethnicity in the past. We are looking at organizations that are supporting independent working artists more equitably than we have in the past. And we are plugged into national conversations about how larger federal level organizations in our peer cities are structuring their their programs with an eye towards that as well.
Something I think is important is your passion is obvious. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Jessica, and why you were, I guess, attracted to this position and specifically here in Louisville.
Sure. So I have an undergraduate degree in studio art and art history. So I used to be an artist in my own right. I have a graduate degree in critical and curatorial studies. I worked a lot in museums and galleries. And so I started shifting my focus towards supporting other artists' careers a little bit more than focusing on my own work. And what attracted me to this role is that it seemed sort of a very pivotal moment in Louisville's arts and culture landscape. You know, Louisville has this very vibrant community, as you said, but it's never really had sort of the scaffolding or infrastructure to support it. So it makes it even more remarkable that it exists as it does. So we started looking at how we could kind of reverse engineer that support for this community. And that meant establishing this office, which is Metro's first office dedicated to arts and culture. And I will just say that it's a very humbling moment to be in this role, because I know it's something that lots of people who preceded me worked towards, and sort of everything is timing and lighting, right? And so everything is just kind of coming together at this nice moment. We have a lot of new leadership at some of our anchor arts institutions who are also partnering to really get to the next level and be able to elevate Louisville's arts and culture community.
So you have an interesting skill set in that you have the background, you're an artist, and then you know the business side of art as well. All of those are critical. So if you had to give advice to someone maybe who is watching now, who maybe they know a young artist, perhaps they are a young artist and they're trying to make it a business, make it their livelihood, what would you tell them?
To reframe their mentality about, you know, you have to, if you want to be a working artist instead of a starving artist, or having your art career be your side hustle, you do have to learn all of these things about, you know, how to market yourself and how to translate what you do in the studio or on the stage or in, you know, in your creative practice into something that is forward facing, and you have to account for all of the business aspects of it. So that's one thing that I'm eager to partner with the Office of Economic Development on, is how we can tailor some of our existing small business programs to a creative entrepreneur bent.
I'm curious, Jessica, you obviously travel the country, you talk to a lot of your peers, you speak to a lot of your peers. So with that being said, I consider Louisville a very, as I mentioned, vibrant. I think people love the arts here. I think that's one of the attractions to the city. How do we compare with other cities? You've seen it all. What do you think?
I think we are competitive. You know, we have major, you know, performance art organizations that have a national and sometimes international reputation. We also have some really wonderful community level organizations that deserve a little bit more promotion and attention, because I think they're doing really fantastic work. You know, there's sort of an ebb and flow, and some of our peer cities that we've seen or held as an aspirational model are experiencing some challenges that Louisville isn't right now. And so there's kind of a constant reordering, if you will, in terms of the hierarchy of the arts landscape.
Okay, before I let you go, also, arts, okay, the Office of Arts and Creative Industries. If someone wants more information, whether they be someone who wants to maybe contribute to the arts, or someone has a question for you about how to navigate a grant or one of your programs, where would they go?
They can contact me directly. Our URL is rather lengthy, but if you go to the LouisvilleKY.gov website and just put arts and creative industries in the search box, it'll take you right there, and they can contact me via our website.
All right, Jessica Kincaid, you are amazing.
Well, thank you very much, John.
Once again, thank you so much for your time. So now you know a little bit more about the arts community and why it runs so smoothly and so well. It is Jessica Kincaid. If you live here in Louisville, you may not be familiar with Michael Gritton, but I promise you, you are familiar with the impact of some of his programs. You may have had them work for you or a young person that you know. He is with us now. He is the executive director of Kentuckiana Works, and he's had that position for 20 years. Michael Gritton, you must have started when you were 15 years old. Look at you.
No, I just, when I moved back to town in 2000, I lucked into this job in 2002, and don't tell the mayor, but I'm basically thrilled every day they pay me to do it. It's great to be in my hometown helping people get jobs and skills.
Yeah, you are the right person for the job, because you are what it says.
Yep.
Kentuckiana Works. You put people to work. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your job, a little overview, and I know it's a lot.
Well, so here's the key thing. Congress invests in workforce development partly by creating workforce boards. So that's what I work for. That's what Kentuckiana Works is. There's 600 around the country. We get federal money to do a couple of key things. One is to run career centers that are open to anybody, anytime they need help. And the one we've had for 20 plus years is at the NIA Center down in West Louisville at 29th and Broadway. But next month in March, we're moving that career center one block over to the new Goodwill Opportunity Campus at 28th and Broadway. I just set foot there the other day. It is going to be amazing. So that is just one example where people can come in, get help filling out a resume. Can you help me apply for a job? Sometimes we have job training scholarships available. When we do, we plug them in. That's just one of the things the federal government invests in us to do.
Yeah, we have to get you back on the show because this Opportunity Campus is exciting, but there's a lot of little layers here.
Yes.
And I do want to get further into that. But
Great.
before we do, though,
Yeah.
let's talk about some of the programs you've been nationally recognized for.
Yeah.
Summer Works. A lot of people, I mentioned, hey, you may be familiar with this and you may have benefited from it. Tell me about Summer Works.
So Summer Works is our summer job program. If you are 16 to 21 and you live in Louisville Metro, you are eligible to get involved. All you have to do is go to summerworks.org. There's an easy button for kids who want to sign up. Once they sign up, they get access to a lot of sort of employability skills training that's there for free. We've got over 100 employers that are already posting jobs there. Kroger, the zoo, UPS, Kentucky Kingdom all hire lots and lots of people during the summer, right? So kids can apply, they can get extra help if they need it, and then we also get money from the city and philanthropy, and we help sponsor about 250 jobs every summer. So if you want to work in a science lab at U of L this summer, if you're interested in learning more about technology, if you want to learn construction skills, those are just three. If you want to learn about the speed school and maybe becoming an engineering student someday, those are just 4 opportunities we'll be sponsoring kids to work and learn in this summer. We love it. We've won national recognition for it. A national nonprofit called us a best practice. Obviously, there are bigger cities running bigger programs, but we're very proud of what we do.
As you should be. I know this is important to Mayor Greenberg, and you mentioned technology. So let's talk a little bit about another program, Code Louisville.
Yes.
So this program, if we want tech jobs here in Louisville, training's necessary. So
You got
tell
to
me about
grow them. Yeah, you got to grow them. I mean, they can't produce enough computer science majors at U of L and UK. So one of the ways you fill it in is a lot of adults want to reinvent themselves as technology people. So in the last 10 years, we've helped over 825 people get jobs or promotions as software developers or in technology at an average wage of $50,000 a year. So you sign up for Code Louisville. Again, it's free. I know there's a wait list at the moment. Hiring has slowed down just temporarily in tech, so we're trying not to train more people than we can place. But steadily over the last 10 years, we've been placing 80 to 100 people a year in software development jobs. You know that that's a field that's going to grow and grow, so we're thrilled that the city has been supporting that for years now, and we're really proud of it.
We've talked a little bit about training and mentoring and that kind of thing, but for someone who may be watching, or perhaps they have a loved one and they say, you know, we need some more education, we need education. How are you involved with the education process?
2 things that I want to make sure you know. Number one, we're really involved with JCPS and their redesign of their high schools around what we call the Academies of Louisville model. So I'm an old PRP high school grad, right? I'm a Panther. That's one of the 15 schools that's reinvented itself so that every upperclassman at every one of those schools is now in a career pathway underneath a career academy umbrella. Healthcare, manufacturing and welding, business communication and media, construction, all kinds of incredible things kids are getting exposed to now. JCPS has improved by 50% the percentage of their kids at those schools who are graduating college or career ready. So they're doing amazing things that nobody knows about, right, at schools like Southern and Doss and Ballard and Eastern. So we're going to be trying to tell more people about it. We're raising money in order to build a bigger organization. We're connecting 200 business partners, John, who are already connected to one of those schools or one of those pathways. And you can go to Doss High School and see a mock assembly line that GE Appliances spent $250,000 to install at Doss. Same exact training that you use to go to work at GE. You can go to Valley High School and see a conveyor belt system that UPS installed, $250,000, the exact equipment you work on when you go to UPS. Over and over and over again, tremendous examples of business and education partnering. Obviously, SummerWorks plays a role in trying to connect kids to those employers. We're really trying to build a talent development system. And part of what we're doing is raising some money to launch a new organization to deepen all that partnership between our businesses and the schools, so we take that to the next level.
Wow, I love that because you have a business here that has needs and they're saying, I'm willing to put some skin in the game and help teach some students if they come over or if they're at least encouraged to check out what I do here in Louisville. This is fantastic. Is that the new movement? See, I'm an old school guy and I remember how many times have I said to myself, I learned this in high school, but I did nothing with it. Or in this case, this is very specific training for an ultimate goal, right?
It is, but here's the cool thing. When you're much younger than me, but when I was back in school at PRP, you either went sort of the college track or the vocational track. It was kind of a bifurcated thing. What's beautiful about this now is it's all integrated. Every student gets it. If you want to be an MD and go to medical school, you still can start in one of these healthcare academies and get some of this entry-level training. That early certification may not be the end point for you, but it at least is exposing you to healthcare at an early age. The teachers that you're working with are using healthcare examples. We're trying to get more work-based learning opportunities where we can teach you by giving you a real-world problem from that career that you're interested in. So what's beautiful now is you don't have to choose, oh, I'm not college material. A lot of kids are getting out of these things, getting entry-level jobs, but then also pursuing college degrees. So it's not an either or anymore, but it definitely helps employers that get entry-level employees, and many of them they're willing to help educate if they're going to go on to earn skills that they need at that company.
Michael, you have your fingers on the pulse, so I'm interested to know your opinion. You're kind of an economic indicator. I think there's this real energy, and I want to know if you feel it. I think Mayor Greenberg is really focused on not only upgrading education, but doing what you're talking about, kind of expediting the process from school to job.
Yes.
Okay, so what do you see as far as Louisville's future compared maybe to other cities or maybe to the way it's been in the past?
Well, I mean, here's the big opportunity. I'm 61. This is the lowest unemployment rate in my lifetime. So every employer that's growing is growing and looking to try to find talent, and there isn't as much talent available because anyone who wants a job basically has it. Right? The unemployment rate's 3%, and that's just the churn of people moving from one job to another. So employers are leaning in. They really want to pull people along. JCPS and other school districts around are all trying to give their kids more skills. So there's a huge opportunity for those young people to step right out. So that's one thing I'm encouraged about, and I think Mayor Greenberg is exactly right about that. The other thing is, the mayor made the biggest investment in Kentuckiana Works that we've ever received from the city last year in young adult programming. Despite the fact that JCPS is doing a better job, despite the fact employers are leaning in, there are about 12,000 16 to 24-year-olds in Jefferson County who are not working and not in school in the best economy in my lifetime. Right? So those kids, those young adults, oftentimes need a mentor. They need a guide, a little guide to get them back on the right track. Right? They've had trauma in the family, trauma in the neighborhood. They may not have done particularly well in school. A lot of life happens for them, right? But what we know, Goodwill is the partner with us who runs something we call the SPOT, the Young Adult Opportunity Center. They're doing amazing work with about 700 young adults now. The mayor and the Metro Council made a big investment. We're going to be opening a new location. We're moving from one place to another in downtown. We're going to be opening a second location soon out in Southland Terrace, I believe. So fantastic programming and opportunities for young adults. So again, as the mayor is cutting all these ribbons on economic development deals, we got to get more of these people off the sidelines and into work. So it's a very encouraging time because there are great opportunities for people, and many of the employers that we're working with are willing to invest in people once you come to work. So they don't want to keep you frozen. They'll invest for you to try to add to your skills as you demonstrate that I'll show up at work and be a good colleague and teammate, that I want to grow here.
You know what I love, Michael, is we hear a lot about the problems in our city at times, but you seem to be, and Kentuckiana Works, you are the solution, part of the solution. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. We're happy to be part of it. Again, we're part of that economic development mix, but again, you've got to pay attention to the timing. The timing is great now for people who want a job or want to get a better job because almost all of these employers are growing, so the economy is really strong these days.
I'm glad you live here in Louisville, Michael.
Thank you, John.
He is the executive director for Kentuckiana Works. He is Michael Gritton. Okay, it may be corny, but I always like to say that Louisville is a great place to raise adults. And the main reason is the people, the rich cultures, fully on display. But to be able to fully enjoy them, we have to be able to communicate. With me now is someone who does just that. She is Monica Lakhwani, and she is a language access coordinator, correct?
Correct.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
I think it's pretty obvious. People have to be able to communicate, but to really blend in, or not blend in, I want to say to be able to thrive in the city of Louisville, communication is so important. Talk a little bit about what you do and how you help.
So, as you already know, I'm a language access coordinator, and language access means providing limited English proficient people with accessible services. So, being able to provide language services for them so that they have equitable access to programs and to resources that Louisville Metro government provides.
Yeah, we talk about being equitable, and that's important to a city.
Yes.
For me, from a personal perspective, I always think I just want to be able to chat with someone, but this is much more important. This is about people who are coming into the community who need to have businesses conducted, medical thing. Talk a little bit about some of the departments that you help here with Metro government.
So my job is to make sure that I look at the language access plans on a yearly basis for all 40 or 41 departments. And that means to make sure that, that their staff and their agency can ensure language access and provide that to anybody coming in who may be limited in their, reading, writing, speaking, or even ability to understand English.
So, give me, if you would, Monica, maybe a typical scenario of a case where a language access coordinator like yourself would be used.
So in my case, like even today, this morning, I received an email that said, "Hey, we are looking at, pre-K and what's going to happen with pre-K. If we get these, if we get the information translated, would you be able to help share it with the community?" Definitely. So I provide the resources. I can provide vendor information to our departments. I can help spread the word to the community who work with LEP, limited English proficient people.
Okay, language access coordinator, I automatically think, okay, you're going to need a lot of translators. So you probably have your fingers on the pulse of, how many different cultures do we have present here in Louisville? Talk a little bit about that.
So Louisville is fascinating. We are growing leaps and bounds. We have over 150 languages.
Wow.
We have folks coming and who are here from over 100 nations. And that's a lot of languages. And that's a lot of proficiency levels. So some coming in with a little bit of English, some coming in with no English, some who are proficient. And so we're working across the spectrum here of who we serve and who we come into contact with.
Wow. Your work must be rewarding because people, I would think, come to you at times in dire need, whether it be medical or being able to pay a bill, or maybe they're making a move and they're not sure exactly how they can do this because cultures are different as
Right.
well and you have to communicate. So talk to me, maybe tell me a story, Monica, about a rewarding time, a story when you said, okay, this is what I really wanted to do, make a difference.
Sure. So I will share that my role is internal. So it's not direct, in correspondence. Obviously, I don't translate and interpret all of the languages that Louisville holds. I think it's rewarding for me when I do some outreach and I reach community organizations and I talk to community members who look at me and say, well, we didn't get access to this services, or this was a barrier for us. How can we make sure that we're able to be a part of this program or access this resource? And I think that's where I come in. And it's very helpful for them to know that departments within Louisville Metro government have language access services available. They could come in, they could look at a language identification poster, or they could say a few words that will help, the staff member understand that, they are not English proficient in English, or that they may say hablo español so that they know that they speak Spanish and they need to get an interpreter on the phone. I think that gives me a sense of purpose, and it's rewarding for me because now that person who would have not been included, not received a service or a program or, a benefit now can.
What it says to me is, first of all, you care, and it also says the city cares, which makes me very proud. I love hearing it.
Definitely. And I love being part of the team that, that also has that same passion and, wants to make sure that everybody's included.
Yes. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Obviously, you have a passion for this type of work, and so tell me about you mentioned I don't speak all of the languages, but I bet you're multilingual, aren't you?
Multilingual.
Okay, tell me.
So I speak my mother language, which is Sindhi. I speak Urdu and Hindi because I was born in India, came to the United States, and so I was in education for 2 decades, a multicultural specialist with JCPS. And in that position and in that role, I met multiple families and students. So I picked up a little bit of Spanish here and there, have friends in Brazil, so pick up a little bit of Portuguese. And so my background is quite diverse.
I love that. Very impressive. I love that. So tell me a little bit about the collaborations that you have perhaps with businesses in Louisville as well, because obviously it goes further than just what Metro government can do. Are there businesses who can contact you and you can help them with understanding someone from another country?
So language access currently is not statewide. And so my role right now is just Louisville Metro government. I do work with economic development as they need it. And so they work with those businesses. And then I work with nonprofit organizations as well to make sure that community is aware of what services we provide.
Interesting. So if someone now, let's say we have someone who is in this country and they need access to your services, what would you tell them if you say, okay, here's what we can offer, here's how we can help you?
Sure.
If you would, a little bit of an overview.
We are actually trying to get as much word out as possible. So I've been in this role for about 3 months. And in 3 months, we have our language access website going. We are showing community members that there is actually a language drop down on LMG's main web page, so louisvillekentucky.gov. They were not aware of that. And so that's a start there. And then Language Services also now has some feedback and comment forms from the community that they can go ahead and fill online and complete and send to me, so that if they have gone and if they've come across a barrier, they've not been able to be a part of a program or access services, they can at least share that so that I could step in, I could talk to the department, I could let them know this is what happened. So we're getting there. We just finished our fiscal year 25 language access plans in the departments. And so working with all of the departments, just making recommendations and suggestions on how our limited English proficient folks can better access services.
See, this makes me excited about, I talk about Louisville being inclusive and welcoming, and this is a big part of that. So before I let you go, I'm going to ask you to do this. Okay, so in your native language, for someone who wants to get in touch with you or your office, how do they do that? Office of Immigrant Affairs. So how would they do it?
Office of Immigrant Affairs in my native language. Office of Immigrant Affairs. जब भी चाहिए वेबसाइट पर जाओ, उधर मेरा नाम भी लिखेला है लैंग्वेज एक्सेस के अंदर, और मेरे को ईमेल भेजो जब भी कुछ चाहिए.
What she said.
Whenever you need me, I'm on the website. You can find me under language access, and just send me an email.
Yeah, this is what I love about this show, is not only am I learning about other departments in Metro government, but I get to meet people like you. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. Monica Lakhwani?
Yep.
All right, Monica, thank you so much. And she is a language access coordinator for the Office of Immigrant Affairs. I think I got it all out there.
Yes, you did.
Thank you,
Perfect.
Monica.